we had like 40 over questions drafted by Manfred, and we only finished like about 4 of them. So that's the problem, right? We have to bring him back. But nonetheless, it's also a very good so-called opportunity if you guys have any so-called questions related to Google advertising. You have the right person to actually kind of pose your questions to. But nonetheless, tonight itself, we already have quite a number of questions kind of like being resurfaced by Manfred, right? Okay, so I don't think we need to introduce Ian anymore, but let me quickly just go one round, right? Just for the benefit of those who are new to this, I don't think we actually do much introduction about three of us, but nonetheless, this is the Three Marketeers show. I'm your host, Jason, together with my partners, Manfred and Andrew. Manfred come from Singapore and Andrew is from Malaysia, and we have Ian here, our good friend from Singapore as well. But since we're gonna start, like in a very kind of like easy and light way, maybe we can give Manfred and Andrew a bit of airtime to do a bit of introduction about yourself. Why not, right? Okay lah. That's
wasn't
just
in
one
the
liner.
script, no. I haven't.
Don't need script one. Impromptu. You just say that. I'm Manfred. That's it. If you have nothing much to say.
I have a lot to say. Actually, okay, I'm the one who come up with all the questions. If you really have any burning question on the topic itself, do check out my LinkedIn profile and drop me a message, and I'll compile it.
Okay, very simple. You only need to go to LinkedIn and look for Manfred Shi.
Yeah,
anyone, right? The name is already put up there. I think it's very difficult to find another Manfred a lot. Shi is difficult, so that's the guy, and you have the face there. It's very easy to recognize. So he's the guy behind all the questions every month. So if you guys, any of the guests feel the questions a bit burning and whatnot, right? Don't blame Andrew and myself. That's the guy you need to blame, right? So yeah, thanks, and Manfred. And Manfred is also the guy who came out with all the website of the week. Every week, a lot of hard work.
Intro video also.
Correct. A lot of hard work there. And intro video is also by Manfred.
Yeah. I think the last 15 guests was all invited by Manfred. Let's give credit.
Few months.
15, not 45.
Only 69 episode, how 45?
I don't know.
Andrew, your turn. Andrew.
Manfred is the type who say when people in karaoke and say, "Hey, you sing lah." You sing, "No lah, I don't know how to sing lah." The moment
you hold the mic,
wow, that's it lah.
That's it.
My own personal concert. Everybody pay money to hear I sing.
Yeah. Guy who doesn't want to sing. By the way, I do email marketing. I help businesses basically grow their business through emails, and I do have courses as well, and I also have done for you services. But basically, the brand that I position is basically I'm the email guy.
Cool. So yeah, and I'm Jason. I do Facebook ads and digital marketing. So basically, just in case you guys is the first one, and let me bring up our fourth marketer over here.
Oh yes.
What's up, Chiwai? Now Chiwai has been. Chiwai, I think now Chiwai has appeared how many times? Twice. Ian beat him already. Yay, gone. Ian just beat him in just like 2 weeks' time, right? So, but Chiwai, okay, we will see when we will bring you back, okay? Now, and Chiwai was saying he wanted to recommend some guests. Can please drop me a message?
Yes, anytime, my friend.
Drop me a message. Or maybe we can do a comeback, like bring a few good friends over to discuss about. Just a quick check. I don't think we have a lot of people here, but even if you're watching the replay, I want you to let us know, do you want to have, because one episode we have a friend talking about the prediction for 2022. He has a list of them. Yeah. I'm so sorry that Manfred cannot see your face there. Okay. But now
you bring handsome really, so much blocked out.
Too handsome. Else the
other three guys cannot see.
Just do the other 4-1. Do the 4-1.
Do the 4-1. Then I have to stand up.
No, it's okay.
Go far. I'm
okay,
actually turning in. Let's see.
Then okay, right? Done. Now we can see Manfred's face.
Now that Manfred become like a bit koya a bit. So okay, since we're actually doing that, so just want to check if you guys want to have a session where probably a few sessions of us coming together and discuss about what's going to happen in 2022. Maybe everybody can bring our own personal point of view in here, right? So that's something that we can have in mind. So Chiwai, wait, let's get in touch and see what we can do about this, right? But okay, now we want to pin our guy here. Ian, who are you? Wait, wrong one. So Ian is our guest tonight, so we have to give him the limelight a little bit.
Very nice.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, you do a bit of plug, whatever you want to say about your business. Come over.
Okay, so my name is Ian. I run my own digital marketing agency, like I think since 2016. So personally, have been in the digital marketing space since 2011. Yeah, if I recall correctly, because it's been quite some time. So in fact, right after national service, right? So in Singapore, there's a national service. So right after that, I was already in the space of digital marketing. So till now, so I think one main reason is that is the only industry where you don't need to depend on any cert, because nobody have, as in, there isn't any so-called diploma or degree in digital marketing, right? So
True.
that is the first pathway for me to, because where you can really strike a career, right, without a degree or something like that. Yeah, so that's how, and many years later, and decided to take a leap of faith and start my own digital marketing agency. Yeah.
Awesome.
They might have
Awesome.
done something in national service to flip your mind to come out and say, okay, I want to own this world now, do it on my own.
Sorry again.
No, they might have done something to flip your mind in national service and eventually come out and say, I want to do digital marketing.
Wow. Okay, so in fact, during that period of time, right, I actually
Yeah.
read a book that talks about in one entrepreneur that actually he started his own digital agency as well. So that was where I wanted to know more about this industry.
When
Then
was that?
went to
You
join the
got
company. In
book
fact, when
talking
I
about this.
sorry,
So when was that? Already got book talking about digital agency already?
2016,
wow, 20, no, 20,
Earlier than
I was
that.
2015, 16, a lot, no?
Really?
2011. So that
2011.
was right after my national service. So that, in fact, that time, right, there are companies already as a digital agency selling Yahoo search ads. Like last time, Yahoo also
yeah,
have a
Yahoo.
lot of ads. Yeah. So in fact, that time already have agency like this. So in fact, 2006, that in Singapore there's already have there's digital agency, search agency. That time, right, mainly search and SEO lah. But then in recent years now we have all the Instagram, TikTok, and all this. So
Right.
in fact, that time we already have it. Yeah. So that was where
Right.
I joined. Then in fact, it wasn't a digital marketing role. It was more of like a client side marketing person kind of role. But then I realized I don't really like those, because those are the one where you do print media, you were like collaborating with getting sponsorship kind of thing, which I don't like. So where I see my colleagues start working on campaigns, right? Then that's where the interest grow lah. So I self-learn in a way where you go into like YouTube to find a lot of videos, to read up forums. That is my go-to resource. And of course, on-job training, that is the most important one. Yeah.
It was
I
back
think,
then.
yeah, 2011, 2010, that time was primarily driven by website design agencies.
Right.
Then they pivoted, or not pivoted, they added the services of search advertising, because when you create websites, such nice websites for customers, then they say, okay, how do I promote this? So that came the need to look at, okay, what else do I do? What else can they do? An additional service, and also partly due to competition, because almost everybody who is anybody with a computer technically can design a website. So
Precisely.
the only way for them to so-called differentiate themselves is to then add that component of advertising and all those things. Then Facebook came in, so eventually a lot of people, if you trace back most of the agencies, they actually came from web design as the base.
True. Very true. Very
And
true.
that's the period where you still get to see Google Ads CPC below $1.
Oh,
Nowadays,
those were good days, sir.
yeah,
Those were the
hardly
days.
you can see that.
Correct.
Those were the days. Okay, now, so tonight our topic is still Google advertising or search engine marketing. So
Yes.
2 weeks ago, Ian answered
only
several
covered
questions.
three questions.
Yeah, I don't know how many questions we covered. Okay lah. But here's the thing: when it comes to digital marketing, any topic or Facebook advertising, or Google advertising, I think the questions will never end. The more you do, the more questions you have. Like, can you imagine in the past 1 year plus, I've answered 600 over questions on Facebook advertising. What the hell? I have no idea what did I say, man. But yeah, it can be that many. But if you guys have any questions regarding Google advertising, you can actually type your questions in the comment and we will bring them up. And basically, we will have some discussion over here. Now, and then Chiwai was saying kind of like, Chiwai is participating in the discussion. So your agency evolved, one of the example of what Andrew mentioned. Right, evolve. I think Chiwai's agency is very much rooted in website design.
Yep.
Then the digital marketing become part of it. It started from there. Yes, I think that's
Right.
correct. The digital marketing came to scene as part of the added value. Yeah, I think that's how everything started. Cool, Chiwai. So
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I think I would like to quickly anchor our discussion into our first topic. So the first topic, or first question that kind of like put in by Manfred was this: turning off clicks with no conversion is important. What else?
Huh?
Well, all of
What's
a
that?
sudden, this question immediately jump in.
He
But
goes straight into the nitty gritty part already.
oh yeah,
Turning
oh.
off clicks with no conversion is important.
So how do you structure this question, Manfred? Please
Yeah.
help us.
No, you see, when we run search, sometimes the keyword itself has
Right.
click. But you see, nabe, I spend money, then no conversion, I very difficult to answer the management. So you have to turn it off. Okay. But the question is a little bit tricky is when do you decide to turn it off? 1 day later, 2 day later. This is the nitty-gritty part. I have to ask the expert here. And of course, turning it off, what else? Do I, as in 1 week later, then happily turn it on again, try again? So this kind of questions, yeah.
I like that. Happily.
Okay.
That's a good
I
one.
think so. Usually, right? Okay, because ultimately, a lot of time where people who run Google ads or even like Facebook ads, they have their own set of structure in a way framework. So, maybe I run ads in this manner. Another Google ad specialist who run it he has his own style of structuring campaign.
Yep.
But in general, for me, how I see these questions, I will try to break it down into a few scenario lah. So, for example, if you say that when you review your campaign, you're looking at the optimization part of it. So is two scenario where you have cases where keywords is it could be also cases where your keywords getting very very low volume of clicks, or even that you have keywords that have significant amount of clicks but no conversion at all. So because in the past, right, there is this term called single keyword ad group when it comes
Yes.
to building Google ads. So but things have changed along the way as well. So that structure in the past, that so-called people swear by that structure, right? In my opinion, right, nowadays doesn't work because simply where Google have already eliminate a lot of so-called like you have broad match, phrase match, and exact match. In fact, even like exact match, it now works as if like almost like a phrase match already. Where phrase match, it works as if like almost like a broad match or broad match modifier. So broad match is even like broader targeting. So to an extent where if you still build with single keyword ad group, right, it will end up you have situation where you Google in the system itself, they also start flagging out, say, hey, you're having too much redundant keywords. What I mean by redundant keyword? So, for example, a company that sells maybe wine, right? Red wine online, buy red wine. In fact, they have the same meaning, same intent. But if you, when it comes to building building single keyword ad group at time, you will add all three into Google Ads. But now with the changes in all these match type, right? You just need to add like maybe red wine Singapore or red wine online will be sufficient because with three match type in place, you will be able to match to different permutations. So you don't need to have three different keywords inside because in the end, Google will flag out as redundant keywords first thing. Then you will get to have some keywords without any clicks, right? So it will become an issue where you don't even have the volume of clicks to measure whether is this keyword worth to keep or not. Yeah, so structure become an issue where you keep constantly facing a dilemma, right? Where keywords is getting you have some form of clicks but no conversion. Then this could be one issue. Then of course, like in a scenario like this, you have quite a number of like impressions and generating clicks. Then that is where you might also want to review if in the search term report, is this keyword triggering a lot of irrelevant search terms? Yeah, so this can be also one issue as well. Yeah. So I would say, yes, to a certain extent, turning off as in I would say okay, turning off keywords with no conversion is important. I would say okay, pardon me to give a very vague answer like yes and no, right? Because it really depends if you have enough clicks to justify that. So what I mean by enough, at least to me, assuming your conversion is 1%, if you get around 200 300 clicks and you still don't convert, then of course that particular keyword can safely say is not relevant at all.
Is there a duration? Is there a duration?
I would say you can use as in 30 days. It's usually when I review campaign, I like to use last 30 days as a date range to review.
Yep.
Yeah. So that will be a good date range to measure. But for certain keyword, when you use the single keyword ad group method, because you have so I would say so fragmented keywords in place, right? Then each keyword doesn't get much impressions. So that's why I recommend you might want to start cleaning up your structure. So instead of like having three keywords that means the same thing, you might want to pause those that is redundant, then in this case you were able to consolidate more impression into that one keyword alone. Yeah, that is one way you can gather more data, so prevent situation like this from happening.
Yep.
I like the idea.
I come from the single keyword school of thought previously, but since that changes,
Correct.
what I do now is, it's crazy when you start managing single keywords, obviously, because I think the thing they call it was statistically significant. That means you have a number of enough examples for you to actually see whether it's effective. So what I did on my side was, then I decided to look, instead of exact and playing with, broad match modifier and all those stuff, I just go broad. And I trim basically the keywords by when I look at the search term results. And then start moving them, some certain words that is not relevant, then add those words into the negative keyword list, and then we exclude from there.
Usually some people, they like to use full broad match. So full broad match is because there are some cases where people find that broad match means that my campaign will get matched to a lot of irrelevant search term, but in fact you can't live without without broad match. Because ultimately when you build your list will never be the perfect list. Yes. For sure you'll miss some keywords, and you definitely need broad match or even like phrase match to do the prospecting.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like for Facebook, you always have a prospecting campaign. Then this is like your prospecting campaign in the Facebook context. Yeah. So
you're prospecting for keywords also, to a certain extent. Yeah.
So basically, I took lessons before. So basically, for my limited paid search experience, so there's two styles. One is top down, one is bottom up. Top down is I don't care. I got money. I throw broad. I want to see what clicks, what convert.
Right.
But you pay for it. That's the top down. Bottom up is I'm very careful. I will have this exact this phrase one. I control. But when you control, you don't know how big the sky is. You may miss out opportunity. Then what I was taught is normally bottom up. But because top down has its risk based on certain industry. Am I right to say that, Ian?
Okay, because if that is some things that I noticed, if you go narrow, right, then you will face similar issue that if you run Facebook ads before, if your audience size is very small, your CPM is very high, right? So if you focus on phrase match or even exact match, your CPC, you might most likely will see a very high CPC as well. So one good thing about broad match keyword, it helps you to average out the cost per click, because usually broad match keyword tends to have the lowest CPC, where exact match being the highest, and phrase of course in between. So and ultimately you won't want to completely just beat without broad match, because in one situation, one client is that they are very fixated saying that, hey, I don't want broad match because broad match risk my campaign serving for irrelevant search as in search terms. But the moment when we tell them the potential downside, we pause the broad match, immediately they see a few things: increase in cost, as in cost per click. Of course, then that's where your cost per lead goes up as well, and the volume of leads goes down. So broad match, right? We did a test as we measure overall where all the broad match keywords add together. And phrase match keywords add together, exact match keywords add together. In certain cases, in fact, in quite a lot of cases, broad match keywords collectively give a better cost per lead performance, and volume. The main thing is volume. Search ads is already hard to scale because it's very passive. And you further limit it without broad match, then you further limit the scaling capability of your search campaign as well. Yeah. So that was the part you might want to take note of as.
I can see the discussion is getting very technical. Manfred.
Yeah, sorry, more technical thing. So, say example, if I top down, I lazy, I'm very lazy, I do broad. Then I realize, walao, a lot of people like to click free Nikon D550. Free but never convert So when do I decide? I'm just using, obviously free is a very obvious word. When do I decide, as in the period, I give them 30 days to decide this keyword is nonsense? Of course, 30 days, 200 clicks. Is that a gauge, or is it depend on industry? Okay. What's your approach?
Because for this case, right, it is more towards an issue whereby you did not because ultimately after some time, right, I also internally at my team, we set like a frequency where how often we need to go back to the account to add negative keywords. So this is an issue more towards there isn't a proper hygiene maintenance or hygiene check onto your campaign where you don't go in regularly to add negative keywords. So in this, because that keyword, for example, it's in Canon
Free is
DSLR.
free is a too obvious keyword, okay, but I'm
Right.
just using for illustration purposes. So
Precisely.
when do you go back? How much time?
Okay.
Alternate days?
So in fact, when you say go back to see the keyword in terms of performance, whether you want to pause that keyword or not, okay, to an extent, if within like 1 week later, right, I still don't see conversion, I won't immediately pause that keyword. Because first thing, you need to, when you build the keyword in the first place, right, you will need to do some, like for example, if you're unsure of the keyword, you might want to do some check in terms of the search intent. So to me, I like to do a check on search intent by doing a live search. So for example, like DSLR camera, and if you're thinking whether you should target the keyword of DSLR camera review, right, then you might want to do a live search. If you see a lot of organic results, not a lot of search ads, right, and the organic results are mainly showing blog posts, review site, then to me, I will find that the buying intent is very low. So this technique I use in SEO as well, whereby you let Google tell you what is the search intent, and when you, before you add into your campaign, you must be also sure whether this keyword have commercial intent or buying intent. So if you are pretty sure already, and when you add into a campaign, don't for me, I usually don't like to jump into conclusion and pause it immediately. So then that's where the next part comes in. Do you have I would say a regular optimizations of going in to add negative keywords? So for me, depending on the account size and the budget as well. So if you spend more, of course the impressions gather faster. So you might want to set it on a weekly basis, or then spend less, you might want to go into like a monthly basis. Then of course by then, after some time, your campaign will be, to me, right, I see campaign do mature after some time as well, because by then your set of negative keyword lists grow.
Yes.
All right. So for agency side, we try to save. We also like save time. We have our preset list of negative keyword lists, right? That we will apply to any account that comes in. Things like overseas name, things like what you mentioned, free download, or etc. So or any like adult related keywords. We already have the preset list. So this is one way you can save yourself time.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, this is damn technical. Yeah, Manfred.
I haven't finished. Sorry, I'm greeting you.
No. I want to bring back
That's why
the
I'm the
discussion.
question master.
You see, I think Manfred. Wait, hold on there.
Yeah.
I think you're asking from a different angle. Okay, coming from another agency or coming from another digital marketer, although I don't do search marketing much. When we look at when is the time, I think the main question you have here is when to turn off.
Yes.
I think that's the main burning question over here. Turn off when you have solid data. Like for example, if your conversion is like what Ian mentioned just now, if your conversion is 1% and you turn off after 20 clicks, no conversion, I think that's a premature kill.
Very.
Do you agree?
Very. Yes.
That's why everything has to be realistic. That's in my opinion. That's why the more you drill into this thing, the more you actually kind of like digressing from the main thing here. So I think Manfred being Manfred lah, but I think it's a good discussion. Agree or not?
Yeah, I agree with you. That's not my intention. Okay, since you have mentioned SEO using the search as a guideline for Google. Yeah, I'm not saying it's wrong. So that brings me to my usage to SEMrush, where I throw in the keywords and then they show the intention, as in the information, navigational, commercial investigation, or transaction. So if the search term, they brand it, say example, they brand Nikon D550 review as a commercial intention, commercial investigation, or transaction, so I will give them more chance. Can I say that?
Okay, so usually because for those software out there, right, they do in a way group keywords based on like informational, navigational, or transactional.
Yes.
So, but to be honest, right, it's always good to, because after when you build campaigns long enough, right, in fact you don't really need to go search and check. In fact, you will roughly have a good feel whether this keyword does it have any buying intent. So I would say it's always good to do a check if you're unsure. Then because software is never perfect, so sometimes they do help you group the keywords together. And not saying that when you run Google Ads, right, you cannot touch based on informational keyword. In fact, in the past when I was working in agency, they run search ads as well. They in fact have all these kind of top of the funnel keyword. Just that for us, right, when we run campaigns, and campaign is very focused on performance, budget is always finite. So you will not want to target, as in run ads on keyword that's high up in the funnel, because for sure you don't get conversion. That's where we always focus up to maybe like middle of the funnel. Sometimes we call it category keywords lah. Like for digital camera, all these are considered category keywords. Yeah. So that is one part. Then in fact, I think what you want to, like what Jason mentioned, right? When to turn off keywords. So on one situation, right, I will turn off keyword fast is whereby this particular keyword, whether it is like a phrase match or exact match, phrase match or broad match, I see that this keyword have been triggering a lot of irrelevant search term and high frequency of irrelevant search term. To me, I will call as internally, I tell my team member, hey, this is a problematic keywords. So that is where pause it first, because those keywords have make our life very hard to add negative keywords. So when you see this kind of thing happen, when you start seeing that your campaign click-through rate falls below 2%. So internally, I do set a benchmark. Whenever my campaign click-through rate is below like 3 to 4%, right? Something wrong is either that particular campaign generates a lot of irrelevant search terms. Yeah, then that's where you need to go in and start reviewing already.
Correct. I think one thing that
Andrew first.
Okay. So I think one thing that me and Jason we used to talk about it is a lot of us, when we run ads, initially we used to look at the dashboard information, and we look at click through and we look at impression and all that. One very important thing that's missing, and it should be considered when you design your campaign, is what happens after the click. So if, for example, in Manfred's case, for example, you say free camera, DSLR, whatever model it is, and Ian, you mentioned about top of the funnel, middle, and what. This could be a top of the funnel kind of inquiry. But if you have after the click where you have a nurturing sequence, or where the information presented on the web page is targeted towards that, and then you measure whether the people who go through this sequence, do they eventually convert? Do they convert within 7 days, 14 days, or they will never convert? And when you look at the entire sequence all the way to the end, then only you can make a very so-called educated decision whether the keyword should be taken out or basically should be included inside. Because search is basically an intent base. But you won't know until you actually put it up to the market, unlike like Facebook. And also I think SEM is pretty much a long-term play. You can't have immediate results within a month. Unlike if you run a Facebook ads.
You have to figure out. But normally people build from the bottom of the funnel where they get the then gradually move up and see whether it will trigger down. Because you're answerable for the budget itself.
But after the click is important, because the experience when they click on the ad is the one that make a determination whether they should continue.
See whether there's a connection between the search term and the keyword and the subsequent thing. So
I think Ian provided a very good, sorry to interrupt, Manfred, you remember what I wanted to say. I think Ian provided a very good route to check, which is constantly check your so-called search term.
Yes.
That will give you a very good idea whether your so-called keyword is actually kind of like getting you whatever you want or not. Yeah, Manfred, back to you. You guys intend to turn this question into a 1 hour
one question, 1 hour session. Okay. I deviate a bit. So this one is one topic. So there's one question that actually come to my mind. So I was having this conversation. So example, this brand, say example, let's say you are the China phone maker, Xiaomi or Vivo or Oppo. Okay, will you buy Apple's keyword? When people looking for iPhone.
We talked about this last week,
We discussed before, yes.
You show it, right?
You didn't listen.
Context of the
You didn't tune in that day.
You send him the link to the video, he can go and
I sent you the link back to the video. You talk about the competitors keyword. Hey, were you at the show? What happened to you that day, man?
That was my evil twin.
Yeah, evil twin. I think this is Manfred's insidious so-called plan, because now we are.
So you all watched back 2 weeks ago the first episode.
He wants to
think you want to watch back the 2 weeks ago
episode.
So in fact, right?
I'm just checking whether you all understand, still remember.
Oh yeah. Of course.
That's a good one. Okay, I give you. So yeah,
in fact, I think speaking of this, right? I think commonly when it comes to search campaigns, when we build the keywords team, or something we call a keyword bucket, is commonly split into few brand keywords, category keywords, right? Some people call it generic keywords, and also like competitors. So competitors is really depend on industry. So Manfred refer to the previous video. So competitors competitors keyword really depend is like how price sensitive that industry is. So this is, in fact, I learned this when I was like running. In fact, for me, right, I was still learning every time when we run campaigns, right? In the past, I never believed in competitors keyword. So when we run the campaign for travel insurance, wow, the conversion we do get conversions because it's a new player in Singapore. So we get conversions from things like AIA, is in AXA and all this.
Most
So
people can't tell the difference.
Absolutely.
correct.
So the
Price is the main
yes.
thing that they're looking for.
So no, my intention is to actually halfway through the show remind our audience there's actually a part one. So if you want to know the answer
I
for part
see.
one, then watch part one. So the viewership will
good.
go up.
Yes.
And I also want to remind you guys, okay, up to now already, like second half, it's already like
We're
we are
halfway
entering
through.
the second half of part 2 right now,
Yes.
and we are still stuck at question number 1 for tonight.
Yes.
Then, really, I just want to show you how deep this thing can get into. And to be very frank, right, we can only discuss, like so-called ideas or topics or based on the cases over here. But in terms of how to set up Google advertising, in fact, it's really a skill that you have to master. So Ian is going to run a course. So I'm just going to like plug this. I have to, right? Because Ian is our guest. And Ian is going to run a course with us. End of this month, he's going to run live. But if you're watching the replay and you still want to learn, you can still go to this link and actually sign up. Because once we have done the live training, then we will actually kind of like make the replay available for you to purchase. But if you sign up right now, you get a lot more benefit. I don't want to talk about that. Go to this link and sign up and take a look at it. But if you are my members, my FAA members, or some other members, you get some discount. So yeah, that's how you can actually find out more information on the landing page itself. So go over and take a look at this. So come back to the question. Are we, Manfred, are you satisfied with this?
Question two.
No. I just want to make sure that you are satisfied or not.
Squeeze until nothing to come out already. No sweat
Nothing
already.
Nothing already. Okay.
We're going to have Ian for the next 31 episode.
Yeah, 45.
So-
maybe
All the,
45.
all the way
we'll be back
to, all the way
quickly
to
lah.
episode 100, yes.
Then
Because
this
there's 40 questions.
Yeah, 40 questions. So 40 episodes.
One question, one episode.
Yeah.
But I think we just have to what cover. The idea here is we want to showcase how
Knowledgeable.
how
Complex.
knowledgeable
It's not complex,
is Ian and how complex is this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
this
if
is
you guys
fun.
want to find out more, you can connect with Ian. You just all you need to do is just go to LinkedIn and look for Ian Ong, and you'll be able to connect with him.
Yeah.
And if your company is looking for an agency, I think I don't want to recommend any other people over here lah. So basically, this is the person that you have to talk to. Okay, now let's bring us to the next question.
Yes.
Okay, Manfred, I need you to fill in the context because it's all your
Okay.
questions.
When,
Okay.
And most of the questions
and
over
how
here.
much should I adjust my bid for the keyword? Say example, okay, I bid for the keyword itself and it's getting some conversion, yes. So I greedy lah.
you want to power the
Okay,
whole
I
keyword
wanted
lah.
more.
Right.
I want to see where's the ceiling. I want to know where's the ceiling. So at what pace? When do I do it? As in when do I say, is it 1 month later? Then I realize, okay, this proven that this is a working keyword for me. I want to know where's the ceiling. So when do I know? And when do I take action? And how much should I adjust by? How much percentage? 20%? Now this is a very typical question that I was
So
curious.
if I'm going to share some as in my answers, right? In terms, it won't sound like it's not really like a expert sounding kind of answer. So I think last session, right, I talked about when it comes to bid management, I rely a lot on the auto bidding. So because right, to me, when it comes to campaign management wise, if you have maybe like 500 keywords, going into each keyword, increase bid by $1, $2, decrease by 5 cent, 50 cent, right? It's going to kill the campaign manager's life, right? So you literally will just as in how much man hours is the person going to spend, and ultimately, right? I personally believe over time in the past maybe when auto bidding is not as good as now. But for now, right, with all the data points, I think it's getting better. So typically, I do not manage the bid management part, right? So I literally just set up the smart bidding, right, which is auto bidding function. So But for me, we do have like a framework where how we're going to progress clients campaign from different bidding strategy. So in fact, right, in the past, there is certain requirement whereby for example, maximize conversion, one of the strategy inside, you need at least if I recall correctly, 30 conversion in 30 days. That was in the past. In fact, now, right, what they say is you don't need the conversions data. You can already straight away use that. So to me, I think maybe because the system is getting smarter already, so they don't need that pre data sets to learn. So to me, usually I would start off with that, then progressively go into like target CPA as a bidding strategy. So then, of course, we still do bid adjustment using the percentage adjustment function. So, for example, in the case of like this company, travel insurance, I see that in maybe for male and female, right? Maybe female tends to be the one that give us a lower cost per lead, cost per acquisition, and our client did set like, okay, anything below 17, they are perfectly fine. So, once we are able to hit 17 cost per acquisition, they're able to uncap the budget. Right. So this is where I see that maybe for female, the cost per acquisition is around like $10. So I still have room to from $10 to $17. Then that's where I will play around with the bid adjustment, maybe increase by maybe 50%. Then from there I will monitor to see if my conversions go up or go down. Yeah, so that is the part where you can. But of course, when you do this big adjustment, it's always good to know is there any target from your client side or even your own campaign. Because a lot of time when maybe when you ask this, right, it could be that you want to know what is the percentage to start adjusting. So there isn't a fixed percentage to know, but it's because there is a missing, you don't have a goal. Yeah, so you don't know how much the percentage is, but the moment you have a clear, you got a goalpost, right? Then you know how much you need to angle your shot, right? So that is the I think the issue.
Shooting in the dark, huh?
Yeah, I think it's the same question if you ask me when to scale your Facebook ads campaign.
Yeah, precisely.
You know, and Manfred is really, I mean, this is a very good question, but then again, sometimes, right, I would say this takes a bit of experience.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's about
the problem is when you don't have experience, that's a headache.
When you don't have experience, you learn from the right people.
That's where Ian has the class.
When you don't have experience, you go and learn from Ian first. Then when you learn from Ian, you understand the important, the technical part, you know, and then after that, you'll be able to have, of course, you need to run your campaign a little bit more, then you gain experience. You see, these are all very situational. These are very situational questions. And they will never be any benchmark for this. Agree or not?
Precisely.
Agree.
Yeah, and I think Manfred would agree as well, because if you run multiple, a lot of campaigns from different companies or from different countries, right? There isn't a benchmark.
Each market is different. Each audience are different.
So
I'm
I
the
think
question master. I must help.
No, it's good. So it boils down to, I think we can actually anchor this question back to learning digital marketing a little bit. Learning digital marketing, a lot of people have all these questions because when they are in here, they thought that everything has got a benchmark. Like even somebody asked me, Jason, what is the CPM calculator for Facebook ads? And I was like, is there such thing as CPM calculator?
Don't know.
I wish
CPM, yeah, CPM is so different for so many different variables.
Yep.
Different audience targeting, different location, different whatever, different creative, different. So there isn't such thing. Okay, so for Manfred.
Sorry, you can finish first.
I was just saying that it's very important that you need to start. That's why start with the right foundation, and you will find answers to all your questions along the way.
Unfortunately, for my management, regardless MMC, SME, or startup itself, they always has a paid marketing plan or even a roadmap. Then in that Excel spreadsheet, they always says ROAS, CPC, forecast, estimate. No, I haven't even started, and I have to fill out more. I give prediction on your whole responsible for it. So what I did is I really go website, Google Stream, find for, okay, this is a retail industry, I take that one, but this is US based one. So just use as US, and give forecast. I spend how much money, most likely will get how many conversion. Then they will check the formula, see whether I go anyhow put another extra one, divide by 1,000. So I put this in. So the mindset is there. You see, people don't really trust you. They wanted a forecast, so I do a forecast before. And I have no choice because I'm asking for budget, especially when you ask for more. And by the way, when you ask for more, the answer is always no. Okay, so you have to do the thing. Then it always turn out differently because there's so much elements. So hence the mindset, we tend to think, benchmark. This is the result of doing too many 10-year series for mathematics. Narrow tunnel vision.
It's hard to have benchmark because things like the CPC cost always goes up.
No such
right?
thing.
I never see downward trend. So that is something, even like the only time I see downward trend is during the lockdown period. That is the only time, to be honest. I didn't see that anymore after that. And in fact, it shoot up very fast right after the few months later.
Ian, just to touch on what Manfred mentioned, do you get customers asking you for benchmark? If they say that, how much do I spend?
A lot of times.
Okay.
They ask for what is the so-called industry CTR.
Correct.
Or industry CPC.
Right.
So typically, I will share with them saying that, hey, in fact, Google do give us this data, for example, Google Partners and all this they do. But to be honest, their data is very consolidated. Like, for example, retail industry or even like IT or telecommunication industry, the CTR is this percentage. But then, does it mean that this is the benchmark? You are 1% higher, then which is good. So it's not the case. I always tell them it's best is to benchmark against yourself. Like, for example, now our CTR is 4%. Does it the industry they say is 2%. Oh, we are really good, so let's maintain. No, in fact, it's always seeing things like how can we make it like 1% better every single time. Same for landing page as well. They ask for a conversion rate benchmark. To be honest, that isn't. So when I can throw some numbers out as a benchmark, right? It's not really a so-called industry benchmark. It's more towards based on my experience, this industry, this vertical, what is considered a good conversion rate. But like for example, just like I mentioned, if my campaign have any CTR below 3%, right, or especially 2%, I know for sure that campaign got issue. That is because experience, right? So, but that is not official benchmark data. So that's why I think it becomes an issue where marketers or even like stakeholders, right, management, they always want to know how, as in, is there any industry benchmark out there? Even if there is 1 year ago, things can change very dynamically during these few months as well. So it becomes like the issue lah. So it's a chicken and egg thing.
Do you encourage or recommend that new clients to undertake maybe a 1 month so-called a discovery campaign to just basically see, where they are and all those things by running some, a campaign to look at what are the numbers and then build from there? Okay,
so one month campaign usually is quite difficult in a way, right? Because it's like especially for search campaign, because it takes time for search for impressions to start building up. So especially if the industry, right, is very niche, like 1 month can only like generate like less than 10,000 impressions.
Right.
Then this becomes a challenge. So typically, campaign wise, I wouldn't say like, hey, you at least need 12 month contract kind of thing to see things. But 12 years is really a long-term contract already.
I really don't want that kind of contract.
So it's always good to, but I think it's always recommended to have like 3 to 6 months as a good gauge, because even you solve the ad account issue, then you also have next piece of the puzzle, which is landing page and also like other ad copies as well. So it's like a never-ending kind of optimizations in a way.
Very true.
Yeah.
Optimization is a
but
journey. It's not a
customer
destination.
education part.
Correct.
Never as optimization.
The customer education. The customer education part is tough.
Yeah. Precisely. It takes a long time. So that's the challenge to even let that client know as in what is a better way, what a better approach, because a lot of them is still asking for benchmark.
Very true.
Yes. Then for my case, it's the management expectation, how you manage them. It's another story.
I think it's okay, Manfred. You no longer need to deal with that at the moment.
Out of the hell.
Yeah, out from that. I'm not sure whether the next one is going to be good, but I hope it's going to be good. Okay, now, anyway, so we will come back to the third question, which is also very much tonight's question. I will let Manfred do the explanation. So yeah,
fair.
Okay, Manfred.
Okay. How do I troubleshoot poor performance ad campaign? Sometimes, as a beginner, we run. Shit, man, everything not working. As if, of course, I follow all the instruction. So where do I start looking for problem? What are the common mistakes, as in terms of bad performance?
because I think when you send this question, right, I like this question in a way. In a way, it's more towards like a lot of time people was asking like, when you optimize campaign, the word optimize, what does it really involve? So in a way, it's also where different. Okay, that's where the different campaign manager have their own style. Different people have their own style approaching optimization process. So for example, for me, typically you have multiple campaigns at one point, as in one time. So which campaign should you focus on your effort? Because everybody have the time is limited. So for me, I like to, there's two methods, right? Either you go to the best performing campaign, you look on how to improve it better, or you go to the poorest performing campaign to see how can, as in what is the problem, why it's not performing bad, as in not performing. Then you go zoom into that campaign. Yeah, because if you have like 10 campaign, which one you should go first, right? So that is first thing. Because this is in a way my thought process. So in fact, every digital marketer, right, what makes a good and bad, okay, not saying that I'm good in a way, it's more towards like you over time you build your own thought process when it comes to like determine which campaign to start optimizing first. So when you say, for example, your case, you want to go, your question is like you want to zoom into the poor performing campaign, right? Yes, then you need to go in to look into you need to solve things one by one. So what I mean by solve things one by one is the CTR low. So if it's low, then imagine, okay, the formula for CTR is clicks over impressions. So what can cause a low CTR? You have too much impressions, the denominator is too high, right? So which means a lot of irrelevant search terms, which means your in maybe your keywords is there's a problematic keyword like what I used just now. A lot of trigger a lot of irrelevant search terms along the way. So negative keywords immediately one thing that you need to tackle. Next thing, in terms how do you further increase? Now your role is to decrease the impressions. So another way is to increase the click, the numerator, right? So that is where ad copies, right? Is your ad copies really answering to that query?
Yep.
Or even things like maybe if you didn't bid high enough, where your ad position is pretty low, then of course your CTR is low as well. Yeah, so I always say like digital marketing is more like a simple math formula. You just need to know which matrix to move to help you with the numbers.
At the end of the day, it's still very similar to our concept is we call this like an action funnel. How people transform from being a stranger into a customer. If you look at the whole thing and see what are the leaks that you need to patch.
Precisely.
But I like the idea where Ian talks about the thought process. In fact, this is what differentiates from a normal digital marketer to somebody who is able to kind of like have a structure or have a framework. Because at the end of the day, every digital marketer will have a different thought process because it's very dynamic. The way you look at the campaign, that makes every single one of the digital marketers unique. So I think coming back to the learning, because I think the whole show is really to try to help more beginners. So back to the learning digital marketing bit, okay? If you are new, I would say if it's good that if you want to learn from anyone, right? It's good that you learn or you try to understand their thought process. So that the methodology, the way they think. You see, I mean, a good coach, in my opinion, is they always have their own way of thinking, and they always try to guide you to think like them. So if you go through the whole process and if you like the way that they are actually approaching the whole problem or solution or situation, then you can choose to learn from them. Just like very simple, right? If you have gone through the whole 40 over close to 50 minutes with us right now, and you really think that Ian's thought process is something that you want to kind of like learn from, I have to anchor this up again. So we have a class, remember? Ian is running this Google Ads masterclass with us, and this is the first step. In fact, seriously, Google advertising, just like Facebook advertising. In fact, Google advertising is even so damn older than Facebook advertising. The whole thing that you need to learn, or so-called you can learn, is so deep. But then again, you have to start from the very foundation. So you need to start with building the right concept, right mindset, right thought process, learn from the right people. So this is the link that you can go to, and learn from Ian directly. The way he actually approached his Google advertising program and how to actually set up his campaign. So this is where he will share all these things together with us. Okay, so yeah, Manfred, you want to add anything based on the questions?
It's okay. Let's move on to the next question.
What was the next one already? Okay, let me bring this up. So,
Manfred, what's the next one?
This one.
How do we know our competitor is faring compared? Of course, I do know how to spy on other people's ad copy. I also will know how to spy on what the keyword they buy. I also know their landing page, but I don't know how good, because if they put very little budget, the thing finish. I also don't know whether they got sales. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So assuming the person is new, right? So they don't know like all the different tools. A lot of SEO tools out there also track the keywords that your competitor is buying. So assuming you don't have that tools, so in fact in Google Ads there's this thing called auction insights, allow you to see, right, based on this particular keyword or this series of keyword, what is the competitors or specifically domains of the advertisers that is also fighting for the same set of keywords.
Absolutely.
So that I think, but I think the tool is in a way only can let you know how, when they say how the competitor is faring, right, you will only be able to know how much impression share they are showing up for. So if, for example, your impression share is 20%, but then their impression share is like 50%. So it could be their budget is twice of yours or more than twice of yours. So that is one way you can roughly gauge. But in terms of performance specifically to things like conversions, conversion is
So I think the
something
max is click lah. Maximum
Sorry?
is click lah. Maximum we can trace is up to click only lah.
might not be even
They don't
click
show
because
clicks, right? In auction
don't- they
insights,
don't.
they only show your top, whether they are ranked higher than you in the search term, in the positioning and all those things. They don't show clicks. Those because
ad
those are,
copy, the landing page they go, the keyword they buy, and that's it. You
So
can't
in
really
auctions insights, they only mainly let you know impression share. So from
Impression
that, right,
share.
is you can roughly in a way guess their budget. But I would say that's why it's okay. Try not to, because these questions still boils down to the part where people like to compare with competitors, right? So that's why it's always hard to get that information. So even as an agency, even we are managing your competitors' account, right, it's something that we won't be able to share. So that's where we always advise clients is to really like benchmark against yourself as well. That is the main thing, because that is how you constantly improve, right? Yeah.
yeah. You won't know
Right.
anyway. Nobody's going to tell you how much money they're making from your search ads and everything.
This question comes from the old Chinese saying, "What 知彼知彼，方能百战百胜." Knowing yourself, knowing your enemy, 100 battle, 100 victory. You tend to want to know, because I also have a very bad, ever since I started with Facebook ads library going kaypoh. I always have to say this: imitation is a sincere form of flattery. Because if you're good, then I want to copy you. Then I copy your ad copy, I copy your landing page, I copy your keyword, but I will be curious whether you really got sale or not. But of course, Facebook, you can't see that also lah. Same thing lah. So hence this question come out. Yeah.
Because like all these tools, right? Yes, it gives you an idea like what kind of ads they are running, or even like what kind of keywords they are bidding, right? But you will never review what kind of account structure behind how they structure the campaigns. And which that part is something very crucial. So for even for me lah, maybe just because I as in pretty OCD when it comes to this, campaign structure becomes one of the things that I am very particular about. Yeah. So even like when I interview potential candidates for ad operation role, right, I always want to know how they structure their campaign, because structure also will show how what is the person's thought process, right? Even I ask very basic questions about the if you see a low CTR account campaign, right, what is the immediate next step that you will do? I have people tell me like, oh, improve quality score, improve landing page, but all these doesn't directly impact or even have zero impact on CTR.
Right.
So this will indicate things like how well the person understand about like his numbers. Yeah, how sensitive they are to all these numbers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that is the thing that I personally feel in terms of thought process.
Over impression, that's the two main component you need to play with.
That's
it's just a number game ultimately.
Everything is number game. When it comes to digital marketing, the fun part of digital marketing is everything is documented and it's tracked, and everything is with number.
Right.
All you need to do is just read and find the number that matters. Okay,
So
we have a
bit,
question.
put a bit of money and try out. Yeah.
There's always that lah. So we have a question from Chiwai. Chiwai is asking about Ian's class. That it bundles with my class. Okay. By the way, if it's redundant, that means you are entitled for 50% discount. So because there are two groups of people they can get 50% discount for Ian's class. is either if you are my active FAA member, which is a membership, or if you are the Winning Facebook Ads Academy member, which is something that I launched a couple of months ago. So if you are in either one of these, you get 50% discount. Please contact my team member to get your discount code.
Yes.
GY? All right?
No problem. You're well looked after.
Yeah, you're taken care of. Don't worry about that. So, Manfred, you happy with this question? This answer? Perfect, huh?
Yeah, perfect.
So we go one more lah. Since we have a bit of time,
We've
see
got
how much time we
5
can
minutes.
actually. Or you
Yes.
guys want to OT tonight? No lah, too much. Okay, Manfred.
Okay, what kind of negative keywords are commonly used? Because I don't come from agency, I don't have that bucket list of keywords. This is a very simple question. Yeah.
Okay,
You know,
in fact, right,
free confirm is out already lah.
you go and Google search master negative keyword list.
That's what
You
we
will find
Ah.
there is. So in fact, people already created things like, because everybody have their own set of negative keywords library.
Yeah.
So for me, I like to create things like, okay, so negative keywords library as well. So also keywords library for example, if now I work with this travel insurance company, the structure can be always applied to another travel insurance company as well.
Yeah.
So in a way, you don't have to redo the keyword research process. Yeah. So that is where negative keywords wise, you can always use those kind of master negative keywords list. But then common, I can only share like more towards like the team lah, because within the team there's tons of keywords within it. Career based. So unless yours is looking for I would say getting candidates, if not this particular keyword career based, people who search for jobs, resume, all these will be part of the negative keyword bucket. People who search like free, all the irrelevant search terms, or even adult keywords, that's a very common one. Country. So if you run campaign in Singapore, you should also have a list of countries that you want to add as negative keywords. Yeah. So or even like healthcare. Yeah. So healthcare, and then or even like things like people who search for example, things like PPT, people like to search for image, PDF, all these. Yeah, all these is part of the negative keyword bucket as well.
You build over time, like eventually. I think you start with a generic base, and then you build
Correct.
it over time.
Because you start to notice, right? Why every account you add the same set of keywords, then you also like, hey, why do I do this over and over again?
Yeah.
Then that's where you slowly build the master keyword list. But of course, for new people who can actually go to Google and get people's another person's list, and from there you
start
adjust
from
according
there.
to.
Even
Precisely.
there's a list for websites that to be avoided, especially if you're running Google Display Network. I don't know whether there's still the list there or not.
Wow, that one, because in fact, to be honest, I don't like to run GDN campaign for prospecting. For some reason, the traffic quality wasn't that good, and some bad experience previously I had with GDN.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Bad
that
experience,
was where you target A, in Google Analytics it show B. So that is the kind of situation that you target male on Google Analytics it show female. Wow,
Right.
that was the part where I gave up on GDN.
And
Next
the cost
file,
can go haywire, because it's so wide, and it's like GDN. I think most people use GDN only for retargeting.
Yes, I think that is the only time I will use.
Only retargeting.
So
then
you only use that for retargeting?
Yes. If it's just
Because
so-called discovery, I tell you the cost, you will lose a lot of money.
No, 70% of the time you won't convert one. A lot is wasted.
Yeah. So
because a
retargeting.
lot of time, agency like to introduce GDN is because, especially when they are like a Google Premier partner or something, right? There is certain minimal spend they need to sustain. Then, or even like GDN, search alone, you depend on search volume to finish the budget. You can't scale with an only way to guarantees budget utilization will be GDN, which is one thing. That's why I think GDN was something that I personally don't like, and I think the performance wasn't good, and I don't want to recommend something that is just for the sake of spending.
I got burned with GDN, man. I realized that it's only useful purely for retargeting. Otherwise, don't even try.
Unless maybe one day I can figure out the formula for GDN, but for now I try to avoid after the bad experience that I have.
Yeah, that's for another class.
Ah,
Yes, for the GDN masterclass.
right.
Once
Chiwai
I
was
figure out
saying,
the formula.
yeah,
So
Chiwai was
GDN
saying,
never replaced Facebook. What?
yeah, Chiwai was saying GDN didn't work for him as well. So yeah, you use it more for branding. Yep.
Try
So
the
that's
retargeting, GY. Retargeting is useful.
Oh, speaking of retargeting, in fact, in the month of December, I have one campaign, right? Everything seems to be increasing in terms of cost per lead because of CPC shoot up, right? But then, which means my usual campaign, my performance dropped by half. But then, because of my retargeting with GDN, it saved the day in a way where the overall number for the month isn't a drop. In fact, it's an increase because GDN helped me to as in how to say
Salvage.
salvage a lot of traffic. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so that was the only time I appreciate about GDN.
Yeah.
Right. So let's see. Gio was saying something, except he said he's gonna come in to your class as a troublemaker. So we expect that shit to happen. So like Gio was saying, you spill the beans of a minimum spend by premium partner. Did you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just now I mentioned.
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm not premium partner. Right?
Normally we passed already.
Yeah, we passed that.
Yes,
And
we passed that.
Elizabeth has a question. Is there situations that is? Yeah, Elizabeth is Manfred's friend.
Yes.
And
I assume so.
so the why keyword, they don't have specific landing page without a keyword in the website. Okay. So what do you think?
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, right? So it's saying that you want to buy certain keywords, but then, like for example, the landing page that you want to bring them on might not be a good.
Don't
answer
have
to
that
the
keyword
query.
inside. Yeah, don't have that keyword inside there.
Okay,
Cannot be
so
a direct match.
okay, so for me, right, I think although I try not to be very particular about you must have the exact keyword inside your landing page, because ultimately, like for example, things like how to say red wine, all these, right? For example, you go to the page itself. If it's a page selling, how to say, wine in general, for sure inside will contain some product that is matching that search query. But in this scenario where, okay, how should I put it? Because
So
I
maybe
think
where's the
it's
stop. So the keyword definitely must be found in ad copy. But whether is it in the landing page, that's a different ballgame. Similar words is still acceptable.
Yeah.
But if the thing don't have it, but it's implying, the landing page is implying the intent, I think should be okay lah.
No, I think it's a context. If you're looking at, let's say, a keyword code definition, that I'm assuming that this is an honest self-tizer. You really want to target this group of people, and there's a reason why you want to target this group of people for this search. And when you go to the landing page, it talks about this, or maybe something that's around that. Then I think that's fine, because the context has to be. If I'm looking for this, and look at the landing page, the copy is relevant to me. Then you'll be okay.
Okay, I think I know where this question is okay. So forget about my example just now. Okay, so in fact, right, what I think she's saying that if, for example, if she want to target generic keyword like dementia for one of the product, so in a way her website might not be containing this keyword. It's just that maybe this product can suit that the patients or that people
It's
suffering.
related lah.
It's really
So
okay.
in this case, you might want to go into approach where, for example, the keyword you want to target, you do a search and see what kind of search result is coming out. Typically, this is a case where you don't have much buying intent. So unless, right, when you search this keyword, there is a lot of services page, treatment page, or even product page, then this shows buying intent. So that goes back to the question just now we had, right, in terms of the keywords within the funnel wise, top, middle, and bottom.
Yes.
Typically, I will, if this is a case where it's towards the top of the funnel, not
Very
much buying
informational
intent,
keyword search.
correct.
Yep.
Then I will try not to bid on this keyword simply because rarely you get conversion from this. Even you get conversion, it is going to be not worthwhile because the path to purchase can be still sometime. Yeah, search wise might not be, because our search budget is always finite. Secure your low-hanging fruit, bottom and middle of the funnel, which is usually your brand campaign, your brand keywords, your category keywords, or even sometimes competitors' keywords.
Yep.
But other than that, try not to, because sometimes you might be a bit of like a part of being kiasu in a way, where in the past I had that as well. You want to target a lot of different keywords out there. You have an assumption, maybe this keyword, my product can help them. But this is very, very hard to convert for sure because of the path to purchase is still long.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I think your idea of using top, middle, and bottom makes absolute sense when it comes to SEM.
Yes.
Yep.
Because
Especially
money
SEM.
is always finite, right? So of course the low hanging fruit will
No, unless you want to drive traffic lah. If your intention is to drive traffic to your site, you tell them I am the authority for this, and this is the intention met lah. But if you really want to drive sales, that's different story.
Yep.
Cool.
Correct.
Cool. Thank you so much for the question,
Hope I answered Elizabeth's question.
I think you did. And the next question from Chiwa is that, is your class live training? It is live training on the 20th and 21st at 2 to 4 p.m. And there will be Q&A session towards the end of the session. But if you're watching this after the session, you can still go over and sign up and you will still get the recorded version of the thing. But of course, if you want to join it live and go and make trouble, you have to join
21st.
Yeah, you have to join Ian on the 20th and 21st.
Yes.
Okay, I will just go over and put it up, the link over here. So yeah, I think that will bring us to the end of tonight's this episode.
How many questions? 3 questions?
Yeah, I don't know. We covered 5.
We have 4.
Four or 5 questions,
Not
right?
bad,
Let me hide from stream and I'll bring this up. So this is the link that you can go over and sign up to Ian's Google Ads Masterclass that's going to happen live on 20th to 21st of January at 2 to 4 p.m. But if you're watching the replay of this one and you still want to catch the replay version, in fact, for those who sign up, you get the lifetime access to the entire whole thing. So it doesn't matter if you can't really learn the whole thing during the live training, you can still keep it and you can keep on coming back and watch it and over again until you really master like how Ian does that, right? So that's how it works.
I guarantee you have to watch it many times.
Usually this is the thing that you have to watch a lot of times.
It's not a movie or so-called a Netflix show. This one has to watch many times.
So luckily you have Ian here. So his face can tahan. You can actually look at him for a long hour. Else, just saying.
Well, he could always just show slides and he's.
Oh yeah, man. But no, I'll put him right in
My
the
face will
center
be very
because
one small round shape in the corner.
Yeah.
I'm controlling the whole thing. So if you guys want to sign up to his class, go over and 2 groups of people will get a 50% discount. So what is our tonight's website?
Wow.
Let's Ian do the SE ranking.
Okay, so Ian, you want to bring up share the screen or something?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, let me bring up the private.
Yeah. So Jason is showing the link for SE ranking.
I will go in and type in the website of the week.
Because I personally use Ahref for the first when I first touched these kind of tools, then followed up by SEMrush. Okay, so I'm memorized by them. I really believe that you do SEO without this tool, you can die. But of course, our dear Ian tend to differ from my argument. Okay, he said, no, you can do SEO without this tool. There is SE ranking. You see, I have story one.
So before, right, because I think for Manfred, okay, let me. Do you need me to screen share or something?
You need to share the screen to walk us through a little bit about this tool that you are.
As well, man. Let me see.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can share the Chrome tab. Okay.
Share tab is easier.
All is one. SEO.
Share then the Chrome tab. Yes.
Right. So some caveats in terms of this is SEO tools in a way, right? Not in a way, it is a SEO tool. So the one of the main reason, right, because I think Manfred mentioned a lot of other SEO tools out there. So typically, I think very honest reason for using this, right, is because of pricing. So to me, right, all SEO tools out there, they serve the same purpose. Just that maybe for some tools, they have a better database. When it comes to database, right, it simply means like things you want to check backlinks. It gives you more data compared to certain tools. The database is lesser. But in general, for us, when I use tools like this, we use things like to track ranking for certain keywords. And also one thing I find very useful for this tool is there's a free trial available for this tool. So main thing, I use this a lot of time when it comes to doing like a keyword research. For example, especially for those who know, like I think Google Keyword Planner, there is a lot of limitation nowadays. So that is where you can always use this under keyword research. You can always type in maybe like travel insurance. So this will allow you to see what kind of organic result is being shown. So either you can do a live search, but because sometimes live search is personalized, then when you do a search like this, allow you to see what kind of search result is being shown, whether there is buying intent or not, right? So there is one use case typically I use this for. Then of course another use case where you can leverage this is competitive research. So you can put in your a a domain, right, or a specific URL, you can see what kind of keywords your competitors is showing up for. So for example, let me use okay, recently was like working on this. Okay, for example, fair price, right? So this is where you're able to see how many keywords this person is this website is ranking for. And based on this, you can see what we call the keyword gap or content gap analysis. What competitors is ranking for and what not ranking for. So you can make sure that you have content like this. Yeah, of course, when it comes to the content of page search, this allows you to give some idea, have some idea what kind of keywords they are bidding on, and also what kind of ad copies they have. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, but I always say, right, tools like these, right, the data will never be 100% accurate. So that is one thing that you of course you can always use these to see roughly what kind of keywords, and also in terms of ad copies from there, and also what landing page they are using. Yeah. So this is something that you can use these tools for.
A lot of times the landing page is just the web page of the website. It's not a specific landing page, which is flawed lah, because the navigation is all found. But
yeah, just curious, I did something was bugging me. Google has all this data. I mean, all these third-party tools, aren't they referring back to the same source?
Okay, so in fact, right, the tools for their search volume data, right, might not be from Google Keyword Planner. So ultimately, they do have database from like, for example, like as things like backlinks and all this they all have their own set of like spiders or crawlers. They will crawl. They will in a way they in fact scrape search results, and that's how they get ranking data. And since they are they are scraping the search results, right, they can at the same time collect data for the paid ads as well. So they know that, when this keyword is searched, I see these ads over here. So all this goes into their database, and that's how they can churn out results in data like this. So data like all this also give how they calculate the budget they roughly spend on a monthly basis. Then based on the CPC, they can roughly calculate, and based on some estimation of click-through rate, they can come out with the numbers.
Oh, so they are not like plugging to the back end of Google some APIs, or like, Facebook, you have Graph API and all those things. But basically, it's their own set of robots and all those things, right?
I believe there's two sources out there. One is Google, the other one is called Clickstream. I was watching the Ahrefs video, so they do explain a bit on that.
I see. So they're
I think how good the software is, right, also depending on how often their bots go out and crawl. Because in fact, right, each crawl is taxing on their when it comes to monetary wise, you see. So if they can crawl often, of course the database is
more
much
updated,
more updated, much more extensive, right? But of course this depending on like whether they can afford to do that or not. Yeah. So but of course that's where we explain the higher cost for some of the tools out there. Yeah.
Okay, understood.
Right.
That's
Powerful. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Ian, I think wow, we overrun a little bit tonight, but I don't think you really mind. So remember, guys, if you guys, I think up to now, you probably kind of like have a very clear idea how knowledgeable is Ian about Google advertising.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
You want to learn. Thank you so much for sharing with us so much, useful insights about, especially when it comes to campaign management. Hopefully, it will be beneficial to a lot of especially beginners, because to be very frank, I am also a beginner in search engine marketing, because it's a different ballgame when compared to Facebook advertising. So always remember, everything takes time. The more you practice, the better you get. That's how it works.
The important thing is to start right.
Correct. You have to start right, and you have to
then
learn from the right people to actually build the right foundation, so that you will be going to the right direction. So here's the link. I'm still putting it out there. So you can actually sign up. Even if you're watching the replay, you can still go over and look for the replay version of this thing. So thank you so much.
All right.
Ian. And thank you, my co-hosts,
for having me.
It's crazy. So now that's what we do every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. We've been doing this for 69. We hit 70 episode next week. It's awesome. So we have another guest also invited by Manfred. So it's a very interesting topic. Manfred, you want to talk about it?
Is public relation.
Crazy, right? So
that makes me recall my days in corporate comms. Then I'll tell you some story. Then we go off topic again.
Probably we were half an hour about Manfred's story, then half an hour about interview. So that's how it works. So expect something very interesting next week. And we will bring back the one part of past life of Manfred, and we will talk about a different topic over there. So all right, that's what we do. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and I'll see you on the episode 17 next Wednesday.
Wednesday.
At 10 p.m.
So if you have more questions for Ian, drop me a message in my LinkedIn, then I can grill him more.
Yeah, but the best way to grill him is to attend his class and grill him personally. Grill him
Definitely.
personally. Go over there.
Personally.
So
Going
here's the
live
link.
21st and 22nd of January, guys. Don't miss out.
Yeah.
If you
Don't
want to
miss
learn
out,
live,
don't miss out.
don't miss out.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you next week. Thank you so
Good
much.
night, guys.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.